New poll is up. Irish Peter, hit that like button on the way in. Thanks. So I actually saw a YouTube video about doing live streams to get some tips, and one of the best tips is actually to ask people if they want to hit the like button. They often just don't remember doing it, even if they enjoy the content and even if they're in the chat as well, commenting, discussing topics, they still often forget to hit the like button. So try to be a bit better on sending out reminders of this. I think it has something to do with the reach of the stream as well. The more likes and more comments, I think the visibility will be better. Hall or Dorgu, slightly go with Hall over guaranteed minutes in the future. I kind of agree. I really like Lewis Hall ahead of game week 19, to be honest. It's a really good fixture, of course, for Newcastle playing against Burnley. However, I actually have a long-term plan, and one of the reasons why I did Bruno Fernandes to Anthony Gordon last game week was actually to have the funds available to upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen. But at the moment, it looks like I will have to play Van Hecke. So it doesn't really make sense for me to bring in Jared Bowen and have Bowen play against Van Hecke in game week 19. So I will have to make new plans. So my thoughts at the moment is actually to just keep Raul Jimenez, keep Igor Thiago together with Erling Haaland up front, sell Rodon, and play Van Hecke. I think Timber potentially might start in game week 19. He's in the predicted starting lineup for Arsenal at least, so hopefully Timber can start. Sedenis Demaina just subscribed. Thanks a lot. I actually have gotten a lot of new subscribers in December. Around 200 new subscribers approximately, so that's really, really great. I have to take a -4 for Rodon with no money in the bank. I'm on a bench boost this week thinking, heaven, I wish I had the 0.1 to go Dorgu. I think Aiden Heaven is probably okay for a bench boost, so you can play him now that he's actually in the starting 11. When they get Delict, when they get Harry Maguire back, he will probably not play that much, but at that price you can probably just have him on your bench as a fodder. So on a bench boost for game week 19, I think Heaven actually is solid, probably even better than Dorgu and Dalot, because he is so cheap and can easily be benched. So -4 Rodon to Heaven for game week 19 bench boosts. I think this makes sense. Yeah, he'll be a bench fodder for a while after this week. Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I actually think that Heaven probably is the better option compared to Dorgu in your situation. Would you add Neto or Minte as a differential? Who B2N, the two, who to bench? Free hit, that is. I really like taking some punts on a free hit. I actually made a free hit video ahead of game week 19, so you can watch that one later if you're interested. I think Neto probably is a good shout for game week 19, to be honest. I watched the Bournemouth against Brentford game, and Bournemouth, they did not impress in game week 18. So I think this is a really good fixture for for Chelsea. So on a free hit, I would potentially actually double up with Cole Palmer and Pedro Neto in my team for game week 19. Let's see. So Vandenberg, I should. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So I'm definitely making a transfer in defense. Not really looking good for my defenders at the moment. Rodon injured. Timber, he is flagged. Same goes for Vandenberg. Dorgu or Dala or both. Double Man United defense, that would be a really, really good differential. Feature is good, so why not? Things that they are both really cheap as well, so they let you upgrade in other areas, so you can easily have Cole Palmer in your team if you have both Dorgu and Dala. So yeah. Any price rises or drops tonight? Actually, I had a look a couple of hours ago, and the most important price changes is in the right-hand corner. Let's have a look. Dorgu is going up in price tonight. Gabriel, the Arsenal defender, and Wirtz, the Liverpool midfielder. Timber, Enzo Fernandez, and Cucurella all looks likely to drop tonight. But on a free hit 19, Dorgu and Dala, probably good punts, both of them. Mr. November 06, best wildcard team. I actually have made a video about the best wildcard team as well, so if you're interested, go check that one out. I think the link is in the description down below, so you can easily find the wildcard video. But free hit, I think my free hit from the top of my head is something like up front Erling Haaland, Ekitike, and Jared Bowen. In midfield, I still have Anthony Gordon. I don't have Saka in my wildcard team, but I have Rice as Arsenal cover. In defense, I have Michael Keane, Pickford in goal. Lewis Hall is in, probably Dalot as well. So a wildcard team wouldn't be that different from a free hit, but if you're interested, as mentioned, I have actually made a video with both a wildcard and free hit team, and it's linked in the description down below. So the game weeks will come really fast. So deadline tomorrow on a Tuesday, then we have a Saturday deadline, and then the next Tuesday it's a new deadline for game week 21. So Game week 19 on a Tuesday, game week 20 on a Saturday, 21 on Tuesday. So I always have those streams the night before every deadline. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. So this is my team at the moment. I have a couple of problems in defense. Definitely will sell Rodon ahead of game week 19. The question is, who should I bring in? I have a couple of ideas. I really like Lewis Hall. He looked so good, especially in the first half against Man United in game week 18. Sandri Baloo, hi, thanks for joining in. Are you ready for the deadline tomorrow? I did Semenyo to Cherky. Thoughts? Can you have a look on my mini league? I think Semenyo to Cherky probably is a really good move. They have some tough fixtures coming up. Semenyo, he was a bit lucky in game week 18 scoring that goal for Bournemouth against Brentford. But he got a 9-pointer. So I think Semenyo owners probably were a bit lucky. So selling Semenyo is probably the perfect timing to get someone else in. This was Sandri's team in game week 18, 43 points. Small red arrow, but still in a really good position. Overall rank 321k. That's pretty decent. Mm-hmm. 43 points, still a solid rank for Sandri. Let's have a look at that mini league as well. Let's see. Still a solid lead in this league. I can see 192 points total. The next player, Arsenal FC, on second, 135. So still close to 60 points lead for Sandri in this league. I think I said this a couple of game weeks. I think you actually will win this league. At least my fingers are crossed. I told you Luca, Arsenal FC, will do get a lot of points. He has the experience. Yeah, I actually remember you talked about that Arsenal FC, the runner-up. He actually had experience from FPL, and you were a bit afraid of him overtaking the first spot in your mini league. But of course, we're only halfway through this season, so 60 points. It's actually not that big of a lead, but hopefully you can win this league. I have understood that this league means a lot for you, so best of luck against Arsenal FC in game week 19. So I can actually bring in Lewis Hall. I will have 5.7 million for my Rodon upgrade. I have 1.7 in the bank, so 5.7 available for my Rodon replacement. Nixie, thanks for joining in. The replacements in the poll are very differently priced. Yeah, and there is actually a reason why they are at different price points. Last game week, I replaced Bruno Fernandes with Gordon. I could have gone Cunha, could have gone Wirtz as well. One of the reasons why I went for Anthony Gordon was actually the fact that my plan is to upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen. It was the plan to do it this game week, but I have decided to wait at least one more game week. So I will keep Raul Jimenez, I will keep Thiago up front. This is mostly because I actually have to make transfers in defense. FPL Lisa, hi, thanks for joining in. How are you? Yes, I know much more than him. I'm miles ahead. So hopefully your knowledge can get you the win in your min league. Of course, there is an element of luck in FPL, of course, but I think that paying attention and, of course, having the knowledge as well are really important factors to do well in this game. So, my Rodon replacement, I think I will go for Dorgu. I don't really like him long term, but if I go for Dorgu, I can actually afford the upgrade from Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next week. If I go for Michael Keane, if I go for Lewis Hall, I will not be able to go Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen in game week 20. So it has actually been a similar situation for me in the last couple of game weeks. I'm not actually transferring in the player I think is best, but because of the budget, I'm going for other options. So I definitely think that Lewis Hall is a much better option compared to Dorgu, but I really like the idea of having the funds available to upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen in game week 20. Will Hinkapie play? At least there was some rumors ahead of game week 18 that he was not fit, would miss the game because of an injury, but he played in game week 18. The only worry for Hinkapie at the moment is, of course, the fact that Gabriel is actually back. So they have Saliba and they have Gabriel as well. They are definitely first choice. But of course, Gabriel, he played, was it 20 minutes in game week 18? He has been out for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Gabriel benched in game week 19 with Hinkapie starting once again. Hi, I'm playing my free hit this game week. There are a lot of wildcards and free hits this game week. Of course, it makes sense. So if you still have any chips left, they actually have to be played this game week. So this is the last chance of playing the first set of chips. I think the only rule, if you play your free hit this game week, you cannot play your free hit in game week 20. You have to get your all team back after playing your free hit. So we will get the second set of chips. But for FPL Lisa, let's take her as an example, playing her free hit in game week 19. Will not be able to play the free hit chip of the second set of chips, cannot be played in game week 20. Do you have plans to buy Cole Palmer at any point? Definitely will look into ways of getting Cole Palmer in. This is probably what I will do with Saka come game week 21. I really like the fixtures for Chelsea from game week 21 and onwards. So Cole Palmer is definitely on my watch list. I really like Cole Palmer's fixture this game week as well. But in game week 20, Chelsea playing, is it away against Man City? I think it is. Chelsea away against Man City in game week 20. But after this fixture, I will definitely look into getting more Chelsea players into my team. And Cole Palmer, selling Saka to bring in Cole Palmer, definitely something I will consider. Radu Gavriluta, hello. Could you look at my team? Let's have a look at your team as well. This is Radu Gavriluta's team. Red arrow in game week 18, 48 points, but actually started Dubravka, well done. You actually had Vicario on the bench as well, so points for both of your goalkeepers. I was a bit lucky in game week 18, to be honest. I had Van de Ven on my bench, but seeing that Timber did not play, I actually got the points from Van de Ven. He got bonus, he got defensive contribution points, and the clean sheet, so 11 points for Van de Ven. Let's have a look. Timber, but you actually only had 10 available players, so no auto sub for Timber. Wirtz is in. Nice. You have Rice as well. Phil Foden, Semenyo, Cunha, Jared Bowen, and Erling Haaland. Vandenberg on the bench with Guiu and Richards. I would actually consider making a transfer in defense. The only thing is that Richards, he is rumored to be back in game week 2021, so kind of feels like he is a keep at the moment, considering his price. Vandenberg as well, in the same category. Feels like a waste using a transfer on Vandenberg at the moment. Timber, he is rumored to start in game week 19, so my only worry would be that Gudmundsson, he doesn't really have a good fixture in game week 19, so can't really see Liverpool Leeds keeping a clean sheet. Isaac Maggs, does my team look good to roll this week? Raya in goal. They have Anderson, Van Dijk, and Keane. So back four. Rice, Saka, Cunha, Phil Foden. Up front, Erling Haaland and Ekitike. On the bench, Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Mukiele, and Guiu. 1.1 in the bank. Let's see. Van Dijk, Keane, Rice, Saka, Cunha, Foden, Allen, and Ekitike. Dewsbury Hall will probably miss out. So you have Mukiele. At least you have Mukiele on the bench. Sunderland playing against Man City, so a weak bench, of course, but you can pick up defensive contributions if you need your bench. So the thing is that so quick turnaround between game weeks, so we might get some surprises in game week 19 as well as we got in game week 18, like the Timber one, like Calafiori, like for Jack Grealish as well. Missed out in game week 18, but the team is definitely good enough to roll. I think your players will start unless you get unlucky and we get some surprising omissions in game week 19 as well. So if you only have 1 or 2 free transfers, I would definitely just have my fingers crossed and roll the transfer. SJ FPL, hi. Thanks for joining in. Radu Gavriluta's team with O'Reilly, Timber, Gudmundsson. I think I would just have Vandenberg in my starting 11 and hope that he plays Gudmundsson on the bench with Richards and Mark Guiu, and then this team is probably good to go. Sold Timber for Hall. Really like Hall. I have talked about him a couple of times already. He looked so good against Man United. Looked like the Hall I remember from the 24-25 season before he picked up the injury late in the season. I think it was in May. So he actually saved my game week a couple of times last season. So I think it was 2 games where he got a brace of assists and a clean sheet as well. So I really, really like Lewis Hall. So let's have a look at my team. I can potentially sell Rodon and bring in Lewis Hall. I will still actually have 0.5 in the bank after making that transfer, but I really think that having the funds available to do Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen is probably worth it for me at the moment, so I might go for a cheaper replacement for Rodon. Rob Duff, evening all. I sold Phil Foden for Cherky to free up some money. Bit sideways, but of course will let you upgrade in other areas. So if you had the available transfers, then sure, why not? Cherky is in really, really good form. So Phil Foden, he hasn't really looked that great as we saw from game week. Was it like 14 up to game week 17? He had some really, really good games. Really good stats as well. Expected goal involvement was really high for Phil Foden. It has gone a bit down the last couple of game weeks. So I don't necessarily see Phil Foden as a sell, even though he hasn't looked that great in the last couple of game weeks. But getting in Cherky makes sense as well. Hi man, would you go Dalot or Dorgu? Probably Dalot. I think Dorgu, to be honest, I think he is a bit short term because we know when Amad Diallo comes back from AFCON, there will be rotation for Dorgu. And of course, when Mbumo is back as well. Only 1 free transfer left. Thinking of bringing in Gabriel for Calafiori. In bench Caicedo. What to do? My only worry with Gabriel is that he might potentially be rested. He has been out for several game weeks, so he might actually be eased in. So we might see another 30 minutes from Gabriel in game week 19 before he actually starts game from game week 20 and onwards. But nothing confirmed from Arteta, but we have seen this. At least we have seen this before. What's your rank? My rank is 1.3 million at the moment, so not the best, but still improving after a terrible start this season. I'm concerned about Foltmade. Maybe Eddie Howe might consider Wissa, hoping Foltmade will start. I think we probably might see the same as we saw in game week 19, with Foltmade starting, playing 60 to 70 minutes, and then Wissa coming in. So hopefully for the Foltmade owners, at least he will start, but of course it might be Wissa starting that game, but then Foltmade definitely will get at least 30 minutes. Would you do Thiago to Bowen or Konate to Hall? What's more immediate? I think I probably would do Konate to Hall, to be honest. I think the Thiago to Jared Bowen move can wait one game week. At least that's what I have decided to do with my own team. I actually had a plan of bringing in Jared Bowen this game week, but after all of the transfers in defense, I actually have to play Van Hecke, so Van Hecke against Jared Bowen doesn't really make sense for me, so I will delay the Jared Bowen move. And I have had a look at the fixtures as well, so it's actually in game week 20, the really good fixtures for West Ham start. So wait one more game week with Jared Bowen, but the Konate to Lewis Hall is a really good move this game week. I think I would actually just play Caicedo in game week 19. So save the transfer, have a bit more information ahead of game week 20. So it's not the worst fixture for Caicedo this game week. Home against Bournemouth, they looked terrible against Brentford in game week 18. So I think I would probably just start Caicedo. Playing against Brentford at home, playing against Brighton at home is probably a better fixture than Spurs at home. Probably. Jared Bowen has 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 5 against them, and I can gain from him whilst he's still a differential. Yeah, definitely. If you think that Jared Bowen will do well in game week 19, I would definitely just do the move. Thing is that Thiago, he is actually 4th or 5th for bookies predicted anytime goal scorer ahead of game week 19. He was a bit unlucky in game week 18, not scoring against Bournemouth. So this is why I'm giving Thiago another chance. So my plan was actually, as mentioned, to sell Raul Jimenez to bring in Jared Bowen, but I think I will have to play Van Hecke. So for my team with a Brighton defender in, it definitely makes sense to wait another game week. But in your case, and especially if you think that Jared Bowen will do well, then I would just pull the trigger. Start Kelleher or Verbruggen. I think that this kind of depends on your other players. So if you have any Spurs players, I would bench Kelleher. If you have any West Ham players, I would bench Verbruggen. If you don't have any, I think I would go for Verbruggen. as Quantum saying, I think they're probably playing against West Ham. It was the other way around, of course, against Brighton. But I think the fixture is a bit better for Brighton playing against West Ham compared to Brentford playing against Spurs. Even though, of course, Brentford, they are at home, but I can't see Spurs score against Brentford in game week 19. So in the poll, Lewis Hall, he is the favorite, 46%, Dorgu 32, Michael Keane 21. So it was pointed out in the chat that those options, Hall, Dorgu, Keane, really different price points. Now I will show you the reason why. So I really like Jared Bowen for the next couple of games. So my plan was actually to bring Jared Bowen in this game week, but I have decided to wait, so I will most probably bring in Jared Bowen next week. So my Rodon replacement, if I go for Dorgu, I will have the available funds to do Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next game week. So if I go for Lewis Hall, I will only have 0.5 available, and that's not enough to upgrade Raul to Jared Bowen. But if I decide to take a punt, let's see. On Dorgu, only priced at 4.1. I will still have a 1.6 available. And this will let me do Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next game week. I've avoided Jared Bowen. I have no faith in West Ham. I don't really trust West Ham myself, but of course, even though if they continue losing games, I think they will, but they will score some goals as well. And I think Jared Bowen, if they score, he will most probably be involved. So he has actually done pretty well so far this season. One of the reasons why I've had a terrible start to the season is actually because of Jared Bowen. It's not, of course, his fault, but in game week 1, West Ham against newly promoted Sunderland with like 18 new players to their squad, I was expecting Sunderland to need a bit of time. But Sunderland, they won this fixture, and my captain Jared Bowen, he blanked. So this is actually not my team. I don't have Dorgu or Jared Bowen. I actually have Rodon and Jimenez in those spots, but I will most probably do Rodon to Dorgu tonight. So as you can see in the right hand side of the graphics, Dorgu, he will actually probably go up in price tonight. So I will only have 0.2 available after those two moves. So I will definitely do this. Definitely agree, Sunderland, they have been impressive. Really, really impressive, especially defensively. So we have seen newly promoted teams do well because they like score a lot of goals. Like, okay, bits of a freak example, but like Leicester when they actually won. You have all the ones in defense. I should probably have Van Dijk in as well. I can actually do Timber to Van Dijk. That would be actually a bit funny. I haven't really thought about this, but I actually have Vandenberg, Van Hecke, and Van de Ven as well. It would have been a bit funny if I sold Timber to bring in Van Dijk. So Lewis Hall still the favorite, 45%, 31 for Dorgu, 21 for Michael Keane. So the reasoning behind my Rodon to Dorgu transfer, even though I think Lewis Hall is probably the best defender at the moment, the reasoning behind going for Dorgu is the fact that it will let me upgrade from Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next game week. The thing is that Jared Bowen is one of those players that will start every game. At least he is one of the most nailed on players. Erling Haaland, he is the favorite according to the bookies ahead of game week 19. 60% of an Erling Haaland goal. 60% away against Sunderland. So the second on this list is Ekitike. Good fixture for Liverpool at home against Leeds. And the third player on the list is actually Cunha for Man United's really good fixture at home against Wolves. So top three for clean sheets: Arsenal, Man United, and Man City. I'm not confident in Newcastle defense. Dorgu is good if only short term. Otherwise, I'd go Keane for Defcon and clean sheet potential. I totally agree. I think Dorgu is really, really short term, but I can definitely see, especially after Afghan, that Dorgu will lose his spot. So I totally agree. The thing is that I really need him for this game week, so I will have 4 other really good defenders. So Dorgu, he would be on my bench most game weeks, like Rodon actually have been so far this season. I have only started Rodon a couple of times. Why Gordon? Cherky played well. I think Cherky is a really good option as well. Could have had Cherky on my watch list. I totally agree, but I think that we potentially can see some rotation for Ryan Cherky. So deadline for game week 19 is on a Tuesday. The game week 20 deadline is on a Saturday, and then we have game week 21 starting on a Tuesday as well. So 3 game weeks in 1 week. It's actually 3 deadlines in 7 days. Dorgu is good if he's your 5th. Yeah, that's been nice for you then. Yeah. So this, I'm really close to just confirming this transfer because it really makes sense for my team at the moment. There are a lot of things that about this transfer that makes sense. I totally agree. Gordon is probably much better long term. Same goes for, as mentioned in the chat as well, Michael Keane, definitely a better option compared to Dorgu long term. Even Wirtz is worth. I think Wirtz still is a good option for the next couple of game weeks at least. Wirtz, one of the players that most probably will go up in price tonight. My team is Sanchez, Dubravka, Keane, Gabriel, Hall, Anderson, O'Reilly, Phil Foden, Cunha, Schade, Gordon, Soboslai, Haaland, Ekitiki, and Guiu. What would you improve? I think this team looks really good. So you will have Dubravka on the bench, Guiu as well, and some rotation in defense. So did you transfer in Gabriel this game week, or is this a wildcard team maybe? I think it looks really good. So, and I have mentioned a couple of times, if you're interested in some inspiration for your wildcard or free hit team, I have actually made a video about wildcard and free hit ahead of game week 19. So the link is in the description down below, and I would really appreciate if you gave it a watch. That would support the channel. Monitor Cole Palmer, definitely I will. My plan is actually to get Cole Palmer from game week 21 and onwards. Really good fixtures for Chelsea, and I will avoid the game week 20 fixture against Man City. Pratek 17, my comment, brother. Did I miss a comment? Probably. Let's have a look. Should Gabriel be a good fit player to continue on? What would you suggest? Continue with Timber or hop on to Gabriel? The Gabriel train. I think we will have a Gabriel train. I think it's a bit early. I have actually discussed this. He has been out for a while, so we might actually see Gabriel benched in game week 19 as well. He's been out for several game weeks, only played 25 minutes. And it's not like Hinkapi, it's not like he has done bad, right? He has actually been pretty decent, so I think Arteta trusts him, but at some point definitely Gabriel will be first choice. Will it be game week 19? I'm not really sure. My guess is that Gabriel might potentially be benched in game week 19 and starting game week 20. Is it okay to buy Jordan Pickford to free an Arsenal spot for Gabriel? Definitely. I really like Jordan Pickford, to be honest, considering the fixtures for Everton, and he usually is that kind of goalkeeper that can potentially get a lot of saves, and when Jordan Pickford gets save points, he always gets close to bonus points as well. So I think considering Everton's fixtures, Jordan Pickford is a really solid option at the moment. Gordon may blank because away game, and he has not been that good. I agree. I'm a bit worried about Newcastle's away form, even though the fixture is really good on paper, of course, playing against Burnley. They are still one of the teams with the worst defensive stats, so I think in isolation the fixture is really good for Newcastle, but as mentioned in the chat, Newcastle, they have struggled on the road, so I having my fingers crossed. I was actually a bit surprised about Anthony Gordon playing 90 minutes in game week 18 as well, so I am a bit worried. But I think at some point, considering the ownership for Anthony Gordon, he is a big differential. He is on some set pieces for Newcastle, including penalties, so I think that we soon will get some points from Anthony Gordon. I brought Anthony Gordon in last game week as my Bruno Fernandes replacement. I considered Wirtz, Cunha as well, but I went for Anthony Gordon. It was a bit frustrating seeing Wirtz scoring his first goal for Liverpool, to be honest. I was really close to going for Wirtz. But one of the reasons why I went Gordon is like similar to my transfer this game week if I go for Dorgu. The reason why I went Anthony Gordon was to have the funds to do Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen this game week. So one of the reasons why I will probably do Rodon to Dorgu is the fact that I will need those funds to upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next game week. Watkins, back-to-back scoring, even Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin has been really good. He might actually be this season's Chris Wood. So you would expect Calvert-Lewin to stop scoring or get injured really soon, like we did, at least a lot did last season with Chris Wood. But he just kept on scoring. Pratek17, can you review my team and suggest any transfers? Goalkeeper Raya and Dubravka in defense, Van Dijk, Timber, Guehi, Tarkovsky and Anderson. In midfield, Gordon, Cunha, Grealish, Saka and Reinders. In forwards, Holland, Jared Bowen and Guiu. I think this team looks really good. You have the bench fodder in Guiu, freeing up front funds and makes your benching decisions easier. So I really like this strategy. I actually usually play with a fodder like that, but after playing my bench boost, I haven't really had the transfers available, so I've just kept Elliot Anderson in my team for now, priced at 5.3, so a bit expensive having him on the bench week in, week out. It's a bit luxury to have a 5.3 player on the bench together with 4.4 defenders. But I really like this team, Pratek. No transfers needed ahead of game week 18 ahead of game week 19, in my opinion. Surely Van Dijk will come good this game week. He has been a big disappointment for his owners at that price. Reinders played 70 minutes prior. Shirky played more times. I think if it's between Reinders and Shirky, my priority would probably be Shirky, but there's a price gap between them, and at that price, I think Reinders probably is decent. He has looked a bit more attacking in the last couple of game weeks as well, and he has picked up some attacking returns. Did not deliver like we expected, so there was a lot of hype in preseason. He actually scored in game week 1, so his ownership blew up and his price rose to, I think he started at 5.5 and got a price rise up to 6 million, something like that. Jim Rice or Gordon? Probably Gordon for me, but I have discussed this a couple of times as well. I think Gimaraj is a really good option as well, close to picking up defensive contribution points every game week on some set pieces, the same as Gordon. They're sharing corners, free kicks. Things that Gordon is the first choice penalty taker. Bruno Gimaraj, he has an ownership of 14.5, 13 maybe, while Anthony Gordon is only selected by 3.5, so a big differential. But I think that Bruno Gimaraj minutes are probably a bit safer. I can't see Anthony Gordon being subbed off early, like the 60th, 70th minutes, but at the same time, Bruno Gimaraj is actually on 4 yellow cards, so if he picks up a yellow card in game week 19, he can potentially miss game week 20. So if it's between Anthony Gordon and Gimaraj, it's probably safest to just 81. Hi mate, good content, just joined. What would be your top transfers in on a free hit? Thanks a lot for joining in, and thanks a lot for the kind words. So I have been discussing free hits a couple of times, so of course I can mention a couple of good free hits game week 19 players. I have actually made a video about the best wildcard and free hits as well. It's linked in the description, so if you want even more information and more details, go check that one out. But I think that setting up a free hit team, I think we should start by taking a look at the fixtures. Considering that Wolves actually only have 2 points so far this season, and they have actually only gotten worse recently, I think that a triple up on Man United on a free hit is probably a really good idea. So I think that Cunha should be in, and we have actually discussed this earlier on this stream, that I think I would take a punt on players like Dorgu, so he will lose his spot once AFCON is over, but in game week 19 he will probably start, and he will probably play out of position as well. So Cunha, Dorgu would definitely be in my free hit team. I think I would actually double up on Man United with Dalot as well. Heaven, not an option. He's DEFCON in the last 3 games and only 3.8. He is actually an option. He is an option on free hit as well. I think he will start in game week 19. My only worry is that he will definitely, so it's the same as with Dorgu, to be honest. When they get the likes of Delict back, Harry Maguire, he will be benched. But of course this goes for Dorgu as well. When Ahmad and Mbumo is back from AFCON, there will be rotation for Dorgu as well. The thing is that why I will probably go for Dorgu is the fact that he will play out of position as right wing most probably in game week 19, as we saw last game week. ADK Sucker, which transfer should I do? Timber to Hull or Dewsbury Hall to Gordon or Shirky? The thing is that Timber, he might actually start in game week 19. He has not been confirmed out, and he is actually in the predicted starting 11 for Arsenal. So my priority would probably be Dewsbury Hall to another midfielder. I have talked about this a couple of times. I really like Anthony Gordon. Bruno Guimaraes is another solid option. I like Ryan Shirky as well, so you probably have at least one Man City attacker right in Erling Haaland. So I think that if you don't have any other Newcastle assets, I would probably go for Gordon. If you have another Newcastle asset, I would probably go double Man City attack with both Erling Haaland and Ryan Shirky. Filip Tomovic, heaven depends on which formation Amorim brings up. Last game he played a 4-3-3. If that is the case, I'm expecting him to be nailed at least until one of De Ligt or Maguire are back. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, Philip. I think he will play until De Ligt or Maguire is back. The only worry is that I think it won't be that long before at least one of them will be back. And we know that Martinez, he is back as well. Came in game week 17, started and captained the team in game week 18, so he is definitely back. So he will probably play most minutes going forward. Mr. Tendai, what do you think about Cole Palmer? I think Cole Palmer is a really good option. So I got a question in the chat. What's my thoughts about a game week 19 free hit? And I definitely would have Cole Palmer on a free hit. I think the fixture for Chelsea at home against Bournemouth, I think this is a really good fixture, considering that Bournemouth, they looked really, really bad against Brentford in game week 18. So Cole Palmer, he would be in. I will probably get Cole Palmer. At least my plan at the moment, my long-term plan is to do Saka to Cole Palmer in game week 21. So tough fixture for Chelsea in game week 20 playing against Man City. So I think I will wait until game week 21, but I really think that Cole Palmer is a really good option. It's only selected by, I think it's 11.5% of the managers. And considering that his ownership was really high in preseason ahead of game week 1, there's probably a lot of dead teams with Cole Palmer in. So among active managers, I think his ownership is really low, probably something like 5-6%. I can't really remember, but ahead of game week 1, his ownership was probably in the 40s, 30, 40s. So probably a lot of dead teams that just kept Cole Palmer through his injuries. So I think that 11.5 is a bit skewed when we take a look at Cole Palmer's tip. So most probably he will be in my team for game week 21, and Bukayo Saka will probably be sold. Ooh, so Hall, a big lead in the poll for Lewis Hall at the moment, 49%, 26 Dorgu, 21 Keane. So I think I agree with the poll, to be honest. I have the funds available to get Lewis Hall, but let's see, let's reset. So this is my team at the moment. I have Rodon and I have Raul Jimenez. I will probably just keep Raul Jimenez and play him against Crystal Palace. They looked really tired in game week 18, so hopefully Fulham can do well against Crystal Palace. So Rodon, he will most probably leave my team tonight. can bring in Lewis Hall. I will have 0.5 left. I definitely think that this would be a great upgrade for my team, but why I will probably go for Dorgu is the fact that this will leave enough funds to upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next game week. Tough fixtures for Fulham coming up. I can see some rotation for Raul, considering that there will be 3 games in a week. Dorgu, for me, he will be... I don't really like Dorgu long term, so I will only need him for the next couple of game weeks, and then he can stay on my bench after game week 20. In price, according to live FPL, he will rise to 4.2. So I will most probably just do my transfer tonight. I think I'm really leaning towards bringing in Dorgu. Out of position, really good fixture for Man United, playing at home against the weakest team. So probably the best fixture there is at the moment for Man United. So taking advantage of this will probably be my move in game week 19. So sorry for going against the poll. Once again, I actually did this last game week as well for my Bruno Fernandes replacement. I think that Cunha was the favorite. Wirtz got a lot of votes as well, but I went for Anthony Gordon. The reason why I went Anthony Gordon was the fact that I wanted the available funds to make the Raul to Jared Bowen move this game week, but I have decided to delay bringing in Jared Bowen. So I will just confirm Joe Rodon to Dorgu right now. I haven't made the decision. We will not get more information from those teams, most probably. So Dorgu, he will go up in price tonight. So my transfer is confirmed. So once again, sorry for going against the poll. I think Lewis Hall is probably the best replacement if you need a new defender this game week. But my team at the moment, Van Hecke, Dorgu, and Timber. I'm hoping that Timber will play. Hopefully I will not need Van de Ven. I don't really like having Van de Ven play against Igor Thiago. One of the reasons why I'm delaying the Jared Bowen move is the fact that I have Van Hecke as well, and Brighton, they play, as we know, against West Ham. So by delaying the Jared Bowen move, I avoid having Van Hecke against Jared Bowen as well. In midfield, Phil Foden, Rice, Saka, and Anthony Gordon. And up front, Thiago, Haaland, and Raul Jimenez. Why is Gabriel going up? Why are people bringing him in now? I think it's the fact that he got some minutes in game week 18, and of course the fact that both Timber and Calafiori, they are both flagged at the moment. Probably a couple of frustrated Van Dijk owners as well, so I think that transfer, that's probably why that transfer is so popular ahead of game week 19. I kind of agree. not worried about the 4 yellow cards. I'm not really worried about the 4 yellow cards, to be honest, because I only really need Dorgu for this game week. I can just play my other defenders. I actually have a pretty strong team, close to a bench boost team at the moment. So I have Van de Ven, Elliot Anderson, and Van der Berg on the bench. So I have a really solid bench. So if Dorgu picks up a yellow card and misses game week 20, that's not the end of the world. That, of course, would be a bit annoying because Man United have a solid fixture, but at 4.1, the fact that by going Dorgu, I can actually have the funds to upgrade Royal to Jared Bowen, so it would be a bit annoying, as FPL Lisa points out in the chat. If Dorgu picks up his 5th yellow card in game week 19, he will miss game week 20. So predictions, let's do a quick game week 19 prediction as well. So these are the fixtures. So it's a bit unusual seeing that most games, 6 games on Tuesday, and then we have no games on New Year's Eve, but the next set of games on Thursday. And what's a bit special is that after this Tuesday deadline and the matches on Thursday, we will have another deadline on Saturday, and then a new midweek deadline the next Tuesday. So let's have a look at the fixtures for game week 19 and do a quick... I don't really think that my predictions for game week 18 was that bad. So let's see. Burnley, I think they definitely will lose against Newcastle. I'm really hoping that Gordon will start this game, but after seeing him play 90 minutes, I can actually see Anthony Gordon being benched or only play 60 minutes. But hopefully this will be enough for a return. I think Newcastle will win this 3-0. I think Chelsea will win comfortably against Bournemouth as well. They did not impress against Brentford, so 2-0 for Chelsea. Everton, I think this potentially can be a draw. No goals. Nottingham Forest, they have struggled to score goals. Same for Everton, so this can easily end 0-0. West Ham against Brighton, I can see a draw in this one as well. 1-1 potentially. Arsenal, I think even though Aston Villa have looked really good, I think they will beat Aston Villa. Will they keep a clean sheet? I think potentially Watkins can score a goal, so 2-1 to Arsenal. Man United, hopefully they can keep a clean sheet. 2-0 for Man United as well. Really hoping after bringing in Dorgu that Man United can keep this clean sheet. Crystal Palace against Fulham. I think that Fulham might potentially, even though they are away, I think they might surprise us in game week 19. Crystal Palace, they have looked tired, so I think this can actually be a good fixture for Fulham. So 1-3 for Fulham. Hopefully Raul Jimenez will score. I think Liverpool will beat Leeds 3-0. Spurs against Brentford. Can be some goals in this game. I'm benching both Van de Ven and Vandenberg in this fixture. I think there will be goals, maybe 2-2, 3-3 potentially. Sunderland, Man City. I think City will win. potentially keep a clean sheet as well, so 2-0 for Man City. Uj Valjadav, I think the best free hit team is a core with a triple up on Man United. So I would have Cunha, I would have Dorgu, probably Dalot. I would have Cole Palmer in my free team as well. I like the fixture for Chelsea. So I have actually made, oops, let's see. I have actually made a video with what I believe is the best free hit and wildcard team. So if you want more details about what I believe is the best free hit team, so please go check that video out. That would be great support to the channel as well. But as mentioned, triple up on Man United. I would have Cole Palmer, potentially a double up on Chelsea with Pedro Neto as well. Could be a solid option. I have gone for a double up on Everton on my free hits in defense as well, with both Michael Keane and Jordan Pickford. I have actually Anthony Gordon, but I won't be that surprised, as mentioned, if Anthony Gordon actually at least gets a bit of a rest in game week 19. So he can, of course, potentially start, but I'm a bit afraid after seeing Anthony Gordon. Brazilian skill Dalot as a long-term pick. Yes, I think that he is a solid option. He's still priced at 4.4. I think he's good value, especially considering the upcoming fixtures for Man United. I think that we have discussed Aiden Heaven, we have discussed Dorgu. I definitely think that Dalot is the better option long-term, so yes, it's a yes from me. So I have actually started creating my graphics for my next video, and Dalot, he is actually in the team. I think it's a really good transfer in, and if I were to play my wildcard, I would have Dalot in it. But as mentioned, if you're interested in watching my free hit and wildcard video, the link is in the description down below. So I will have another stream ahead of the deadline tomorrow as well. So if you're interested in joining that one, subscribe to the channel. I haven't really checked X this evening. I always have this post on X. So if you're interested, head over, post a picture of your team. I have totally forgot to check this time. Playbill, Jern Danielson. Playbill, are you in the chat at the moment. Please let me know. Terribly sorry, Playbill. Usually on most streams. Posted his team on X 30 minutes ago. I have totally forgot to check. I'm terribly sorry. But of course, there's always, if you post your team on X, I think it's probably a good idea to send a reminder in the chat as well. Great show from Rob Taff. Thanks a lot. So as mentioned, if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture under my latest post on X, and I will get your team on the screen. So on the screen at the moment, we have Playbell's team. He posted 30 minutes ago. I think he probably have left the stream, but let's have a quick look at this team. So Raya in goal, double up with Timber. Have some problems in defense with Richards. I think he will miss game week 19 as well. Is it cold now in Norway? It's not that cold, to be honest, but it will be a bit colder next week. I think we will have like minus 10 degrees. That's Celsius. Richards, I've talked about Richards actually a couple of times. I don't necessarily see Richards as a sell. I think he will be back soon, but I don't think he will play in game week 19. So with a bit of luck, Timber can start. But if you're unlucky, you might actually have them both out. So Mukele, tough game for him. Anderson, of course, against Crystal Palace can be a decent option, especially seeing that you don't have any Crystal Palace attackers. So Richards to the bench, Anderson in. Start Timber, hope that he plays. Mukele will come in. Saka, Cunha, Semenyo, Foden, Minte. Cunha, I think it's solid punt considering the fixture for Man United. And the fact that Cunha is probably the first choice penalty taker for Man United now with both Bruno Fernandes and Mbumo not playing. So a solid team can, of course, do something like Richards to Dalot. Maybe Mukele to Dalot is even better. And you can just keep Anderson on the bench and start Dalot and bench Richards. Will give you a bit stronger cover on the bench for game week 19, as Anderson is decent. So I don't really remember how many transfers you have playable, but if you have 2 or more, probably Mukele to Dalot can be a good option this game week. I guess if you come to Albania, you won't even wear a jacket because you're so used to cold climate. Probably. And the ones coming from even hotter places, they will probably think Albania is pretty cold. It's not that warm in Albania at this time of year, right? It's not like people going to the beach and stuff. So Albania, for the last like 10 years, Albania, they have been really popular holiday destination for a lot of Norwegians as well, but only in summertime. I haven't really heard of many traveling to Albania this time of the year. We usually go to like Spain is probably most popular destination, but I will have a look at a couple of other teams as well. This was Playball's team. Plan is to transfer Hall in for Richards and next game week Timber to Gabriel. Yeah, solid plan. I missed the plan when checking her team, but Richards, Hall for Richards. Really good option. Another option is of course Michele to Dalo as mentioned, but that's your decision. So we had a couple of other teams. I will have to refresh this. Ashant Rocks, hi mate, sent my team. Thanks for joining in as always. MBA Urmok. Let's have a look at this team. 1 free transfer and 0.5 in the bank. So with 1 free transfer, it's always a good idea to at least try to look if it's possible to save and have 2 free transfers. So let's have a look at this team. Sanchez in goal, Timber in defense, and Hinkapi, Guehi, Minte, Shirky, Saka, Phil Foden. So solid midfield with Ekitiki, Thiago, and Erling Haaland. Collins on the bench, Esteve, and King. So with 1 free transfer, I think this definitely is a save. Timber is in the predicted starting 11 for Arsenal, but if Timber misses out, I think that having Collins, especially seeing that you don't have any Spurs attackers, I think getting Collins in is probably enough. So my advice would be to just save, have 2 free transfers heading into game week 20. This is mine, thanks. Yeah, I saw from the handle on X. I think this team probably should do well. I think there will be some interest in Gabriel, and he is actually close to a price rise, but this game week, seeing that you only have 1 free transfer, I would just start Timber, hope that he plays, and we will probably have some more information ahead of game week 20. I have said this about Gabriel earlier as well. We haven't had any concrete news from Arteta, but I can see Gabriel being eased in, so he might actually start on the bench as we saw in game week 18. Hello, have you seen my team? I will have a look at a couple of other teams as well. So this, Richie Hadan, Playbill, Not really sure why this is happening. Sometimes I'm not able to. Let's try again. Sometimes it's really hard to fit a team into the screen. not really an expert, but at least I'm a bit better compared to what I was at the start. There we go, that's a bit better. Have you seen my team? I will have a look. I remember a day in Tirana, it was November, almost all people wearing jackets, and then there was a tourist, maybe a Norwegian, with shorts, only a sports jacket. Incredible. I think that's probably because if you're used to cold climate, it's probably really good to not having to put on so many clothes, of course. Appreciate it. That was my plan too. Nice. By the way, I actually thought about this when I saw Gravenberch picked up 11 points in game week 18, so well done. He is actually a solid FPL option. So Gravenberch is in. So a double up on Liverpool. Let's call this Liverpool attack against Leeds with Ekitiki and Gravenberch. Haaland, captain. Thiago is still in. I have him as well. Rice, Phil Foden. Timber in defense with Guehi, Chalobah, and Ruben Diaz. On the bench, Wilson. Would be tempted to play Wilson ahead of Guehi. Guehi on the bench. 3-4-3 with Wilson. So, of course, Guehi is a really good option, but I think that Crystal Palace, they look a bit tired. They have looked a bit tired recently, so I actually think that Fulham can do well in this fixture. Bruno Fernandes. Of course, another option is to replace Bruno Fernandes. It's a lot. 9 million. If your plan is to keep this on the bench. We haven't got a concrete date for the Bruno Fernandes return from the injury, so should I sell Gudmundsson for Dorgu and bench? Bench Vandenberg and Richards, or sell Vandenberg for Dalot or Hall. I think Vandenberg probably is a keep at the moment, considering the price and that they have some decent fixtures coming up. He can easily be benched at that price, only priced at 4.5. Gudmundsson to Dorgu. I think Gudmundsson is a solid option. It's only priced at 3.8. But Dorgu is really tempting, of course, seeing that you have a couple of injuries. Like Richards. I can really see the temptation for going Vandenberg to Dalot. That would probably, because you're selling a solid option in Vandenberg. Dalot is probably a small upgrade, but is it worth using a transfer? It kind of depends how many transfers you have, to be honest. If you only have 1 or 2, I would probably just save. If you have 3 free transfers or more, I would probably do the Dalot move. Wilson ahead of Guehi. Yeah, definitely my advice with this team that's on the screen at the moment would be to start Harry Wilson and bench Guehi. Bill Balls Deep, my team name. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oops. Bill Johnson. Can't really seem to find your team. Let's check notifications. Balls Deep. Not that one. I'm terribly sorry. Bill, can't really seem to find your team. Have you posted on X? Just refresh the page but couldn't find your team. So it's not like I can search for your team, then I need your team ID at least. Can't just search for your team name, I'm afraid. Virat Kohli Salam, how are you? All good? What about you? Thoughts on people captaining Cunha? I think it's probably an okay punt considering the good fixture for Man United and the fact that he potentially is on penalties for Man United at the moment. So Cunha, yes, I actually like the Cunha captain punt for game week 19, to be honest. However, of course, there is a risk involved in going against Erling Haaland. He will have really high effective ownership for game week 19. Fixture is solid for Man City as well, even though it's away. I think they can do well against Sunderland. So we have discussed Sunderland this evening as well. They have impressed so far this season, but against Man City, I think this will be a tough game for Sunderland. Your team, Lucky. Yes, this is. Let's just double check. Yeah, this is my team at the moment. I made a transfer 15 minutes ago. I sold Rodon, my bench fodder, to bring in Dorgu. Have a couple of flagged players. And Rodon, he was injured as well. So my plan was actually to sell Raul Jimenez and bring in Jared Bowen, but I will probably have to play Van Hecke, and for me it doesn't really make sense to bring in Jared Bowen and have Van Hecke play against him this game week. So the Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen transfer has been delayed by one game week. Guehi or Anderson? To start this game week or to transfer in? I think both of them are solid long-term options, nailed on, can pick up defensive contributions and get attacking returns. So at that price point, I like both of them. Who should start in game week 19? So between oops, sorry, got muted, but I got a question about Guehi and Wilson. I would definitely start Harry Wilson and bench Guehi, but between Guehi and Anderson, I would probably bench Anderson and start Guehi, especially if you don't have any other attacking assets from Fulham. Bench Rodgers or Wilson. thing is that the fixture can't be much tougher for Aston Villa, right? And I think that Crystal Palace, they have looked tired recently, so probably bench Rodgers, play Wilson. Radu Gavriluta or sell Richards for Dorgu, Dalot or Hall. I think if you have the available funds for Richards to Lewis Hall, that's probably a really solid upgrade at the moment. I don't seem to have 3 healthy defenders at the moment. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Not really. I haven't really thought about this. Maybe I should sit down later this evening and try to make a list. Still some time. We're at college check. Refreshing. I have Timber 2. We didn't get any concrete news as usual from Arteta, but at least he is in the predicted starting 11 for Arsenal. So hopefully Timber can start. So I had Timber flagged, I had Vandenberg flagged, and I had Rodon flagged as well. So I had to make a transfer in defense. So Rodon is sold and Dorgu, he has come in. So I don't really like Dorgu long term. He is on 4 yellow cards as well, so but I really need him for game week 19, and then I can have him on my bench going forward. Refresh, check my team. Refreshing. Let's see, we're at Cooley. You're probably talking about X, right? Give it a go. I'm not really sure why everything is on that side. Oops. So is this the one? Virat Kohli has won Al Akbar. Yes. So we finally got it. Vicario to Jordan Pickford for a -4. Nah, not for a -4. Maybe if you have a couple of transfers, but not for a -4. So Spurs, they actually kept a clean sheet themselves in game week 18, so not for a -4 in my opinion. Raya Ingle, Van Dijk, James, and Matheus Nunes. So solid options in defense. I like Reece James for game week 19 and a good fixture against Bournemouth as well. Can see some attacking returns from James once again. Rodgers, Saka playing against each other. Caicedo, Semenyo, Ryan Shirky, Thiago, and triple captain on Erling Haaland. Of course, a tough fixture for Rodgers, but we have seen this with Morgan Rodgers earlier as well. His best game in the 24-25 season was actually against Man City. So sometimes Morgan Rodgers, he actually steps up when Aston Villa have tough games. So seeing that you don't have any other Arsenal defenders than Raya, I think having Morgan Rodgers in the starting 11 is probably solid. Should I sell Rodgers? The thing is that Aston Villa, they have really good fixtures coming up. I think I would actually just keep Rodgers at this point. So you can shift some money from midfield up front, bring in Ekitike. I think if you have a feeling that Ekitike will do well in the next couple of games, and if you can do it without taking a hit, I think it's probably a good option. Play 3 up front with Ekitike, Thiago, and Haaland, and downgrade Rodgers to. I think I would probably go someone like Deveni, 4.3. Should I sell Semenyo? I think at some point he will be a sell. Seeing that you have Semenyo play against Reece James, probably not the best option, of course, not the worst. He was a bit lucky scoring in game week 18 against Brentford. I think my priority will probably be to get rid of Semenyo, to be honest. Just keeping Rodgers. So Semenyo to Deveni and upgrading your third forward to Ekitike. So you don't have the available funds to do the straight swap. So you have to sell Thiago as well. Ekitike. I think if you're selling one midfielder, I think first priority sell at the moment for me would be Semenyo out, to be honest. But seeing that she is your wise captain this game week, probably are better options this game week. But considering the fixtures for Aston Villa coming up, I think Rodgers is probably more of a hold compared to Semenyo. So if you want to shift more funds up front, it makes sense. But in my opinion, Semenyo should be the one that's downgraded. Can you take a look at my team posted on X? Yes. I will just refresh this. Here we go. Should I sell Saka? I don't necessarily see Saka as a definite sell, but I think Rice probably is better value at least. So let's see, do we have any message on this post? Bench boost on. I have 4 free transfers I can make. Okay, interesting. Bench boost team. Of course, you can downgrade Saka to Rice and use the funds to upgrade to Ekitike. That's an option. I have the bench boost chip this week and 4 free transfers. So this is really interesting. Hassan in the chat. Petrovic, Timber, Anderson, Hinkapi, Buket. I actually think Heaven is close to perfect for a bench boost team. You only really need him for this game week, right? You can bench him and have him last on your bench most game weeks at that price. And take a punt and start him in the good fixtures. But definitely a good fixture, and he will most probably start. So having a really good option, Michele. Not the best option, of course, but he can pick up defensive contributions against Man City. So on the bench, Welbeck, Minte, Elliot Anderson, Dubravka, Ekitike, Haaland, Shirky, Cunha, Saka, Timber, Anderson, Hikapi, Michele, Heaven, and Petrovic. So, of course, this is the last game week where you can play the first set of chips. So if you have your bench boost, it definitely makes sense to activate your bench boost with this team. I don't really think that Michele will get that many points. There is a question mark surrounding Timber and his availability for game week 19 as well. But I think other than this, most of your players will start. Both Minte and Welbeck was benched in game week 18. But I think this potentially means that they will start in game week 19. So I think this looks solid. You can, of course, consider something like Michele to the law, potentially. Or if you have the funds to upgrade to Lewis Hall. I'm mainly worried about Arsenal defense players and Welbeck. Should I transfer them out? Considering that the fixture is actually pretty decent for Brighton, and the fact that he started on the bench but came on for Brighton last game week, I think this is good news for Welbeck owners. So he's probably a keep for game week 18, seeing that there's a quick turnaround between game week. So I can see Danny Welbeck starting in game week 19, and then being rested for game week 20. So when to buy Gabriel? If he starts, I need him because I have 3 flagged defenders. Of course, we know about Gabriel's qualities. He will most probably go up in price this evening as well. My advice would be to probably wait one more game week. So, of course, it's all guesswork. Arteta did not confirm that he will not start in game week 19, but I just have a feeling that we have seen this before, that when you're out for an extended period, miss a lot of game weeks, I think they might ease him in. Sent my team a few minutes ago. Would really appreciate. One of the few weeks I could do nothing or a lot. MK, okay, let's see. So hopefully this bench boost will be a success. Michele, $2 is an option with this team. Doubling up on the United defense against Wolves, probably not the worst idea. There we go. MK, 1 free transfer, 1.7 in the bank. Let's have a look at this team. Raya and Dubravka. We have Timber, Van Dijk, O'Reilly, Van den Berg, and Gudmundsson in defense. Minte, Semenyo, Cunha, Phil Foden, King, Ekitike, Thiago, and Erling Haaland. So at first glance, the team looks solid enough in my opinion. So on the bench, you would have Gudmundsson and King together with probably Van den Berg. So Timber, Van Dijk, O'Reilly, Minte, Semenyo, Cunha, Phil Foden, Tiki, Thiago, Erling Haaland. With only one free transfer, I would be tempted to just save. I'm tempted to do Gabriel in for Timber. Yeah. If you think that Gabriel will start, then it's probably a solid option. I have said this a couple of times. I just have a feeling that we might actually see Gabriel being benched and play like 20-30 minutes in game week 19 as well. But I personally think he starts. Arsenal have many injuries in defense and they need Gabriel in this important game. You might be 100% right. So just to be clear, this is only guesswork. I haven't read or seen or heard anything about any rumors about Gabriel starting or not starting. So we did not get any information from Arteta on the press conference after the game as well. So it's just all guesswork. But I think that if you have a feeling, of course, like Radu Gavriluta in the chat, if you have a feeling that Gabriel will start, I'd say just go for it. But if he doesn't start, he will most definitely start in game week 20, right? So it's not the end of the world, to be honest. So yeah, no Timber in the Arsenal training picks. So like for MK, I would be even more tempted, right, to do the transfer, especially if you have a feeling that Gabriel is back and will start. Timber not in training. Yeah, I say just go for it. There's also the risk if Timber misses out completely, even though people are quite positive of a start. I just have seen on X some of the Arsenal, one of the bigger Arsenal pages. Can't really remember the name. Something. HUMM. I'm not sure if he has any inside information, but at least in his predicted Arsenal starting 11, Timber was in, but only guesswork at this point. We haven't really had any concrete updates from Guardiola, so Gabriel is in the training picks, but knowing Arteta, that means Timber starts in Gabriel bench, right? I want to buy Gabriel from Radu Gavriluta. Should I buy him for Timber or O'Reilly? So definitely Timber at this point. Don't really think we need a double up on the Arsenal defense going forward. So keep O'Reilly and do Timber to Gabriel. Josef, Guehi or Anderson? I think I would start I think I would start Guehi for game week 19, to be honest. I got a question earlier about Guehi or Wilson. Then I would definitely start Harry Wilson, but when it's between Guehi and Anderson, I would probably go for Guehi. Mostly because it's a home game and Guehi, he has a bit more attacking threat. Anderson will most probably pick up defensive contributions, but Guehi can very well get this as well. So George Collingwood, any tips for someone that still has to use the wildcard this week? I definitely have some thoughts about the wildcard and the free hit as well, actually, ahead of game week 19. I have made a video where I discuss wildcard and free hit ahead of game week 19. So if you're interested, that would be really appreciated as well if you go check out that video. It's in the link is in the description down below. So can easily access my Game Week 19 wildcard video. I think the core of the wildcard, I have Ekitike in, Erling Haaland, Jared Bowen up front, Cunha in midfield. I think I made 2 different options, one with and one without Cole Palmer. Saka is not in my free hit, but I have Rice. Pickford is my goalkeeper on a wildcard. I have Keane as well. Guardiola is in my wildcard. I think I picked Gudmundsson as my cheap defender, only priced at 3.8. I think Dalot probably is in there as well. So if you're interested, Judge, go watch that video for a bit more detailed information. So I made that video. It's been started to look at possible wildcard and free hits teams for Game Week 20 as well. So this is the reason why I kind of mixed the teams a bit. So if you want even more details, go check out the video. It's actually one of my most viewed videos recently. I think it's hit like 6K views, which is quite good for a small channel like this. Sorry, should I just roll them? Not too sure this week. I think with this team, I would just have Vandenberg, Gudmundsson, and King on the bench and just roll the transfer. I think that you only have one. I think having 2 free transfers heading into the hectic period we're going into at this point. So there will be a deadline tomorrow, new deadline on Saturday, and then the next deadline for Game Week 21 is on the next Tuesday, so in 8 days. So 3 deadlines in 7 days. I think that with this team, you will most probably do okay in Game Week 18. And I think it will be really valuable having 2 free transfers heading into Game Week 20. Dorgu, he is actually the favorite in the poll. Yes, my confirmed transfer. He has overtaken Hall as the favorite in the poll. Best replacement for Rodon. Hall 36%, Dorgu 39%, Michael Keane 22%. So my transfer this evening, I have sold Joe Rodon, the lead centre back, and I have brought in Dorgu. Heaven. The research Heaven is the best replacement for Rodon, with Wolves next and being 3.8. Definitely a really good value. The thing is that I could have gone for Heaven. I mostly just need my Rodon replacement for this game week. I will have him mostly on my bench, so I could have gone Heaven myself. But I like that Dorgu most probably will play out of position as right wing against Wolves. So this is the reason why I went for Dorgu. I could have gone for Michael Keane. I could have gone for Lewis Hall, but this would not let me upgrade Raul Jimenez to Jared Bowen next week. So that was the reason why I went for a player priced only 4.1. Will Timber play? I wish I had the answer to this. All we know at this point is that he's in some predicted starting 11s. I just recently learned in the chat told us that Timber has not been pictured from the last Arsenal training session. So Gabriel was in the training session. We had some jokes in the chat about this will probably mean that Timber starts and Gabriel will not play, but I'm starting to be a bit concerned about Timber myself, to be honest. So I think the X account, go check it out if you want. It's Connor Hum. At least he has a really big X account, and he usually has some inside information when it comes to Arsenal. How reliable he is, I'm not really sure, but at least he had Timber in his predicted starting 11. Does this mean that Timber definitely starts? I'm not sure. Danish muted. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. This happens from time to time with my microphone. Not really sure why. It's not like I'm touching the wire or anything. I got a tip that it probably had something to do with some power settings. So when my battery on my laptop gets lower, then some USB ports gets muted. It's probably something like this. I have tried to turn those settings, power saving settings off, but with no success. It has been a bit better. Actually, a couple of months ago, I got muted even more. So I know it's a bit annoying. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix it. But it's really great if you let me know in the chat when the microphone gets muted, so I don't talk to myself longer than necessary. The research, I have 3 transfers. 1, Bruno to Cunha. Number 2, Guahi to Dorgu. Number 3, Rodon to Heaven or Keane. I'm also thinking perhaps Semenyo to Wirtz. Which do you think would be better? Wirtz for the long term. I think Wirtz is a really solid option. Bruno to Cunha as well. I think Bruno Fernandes at that price, we're not really sure when he will be back and available to start. So 9 million is probably a sell. It's a bit much carrying that on the bench week in, week out. So I like number 1, Bruno to Cunha. I think that if you do Guahi to Dorgu, I would do Rodon to Keane. And I would do Semenyo to Wirtz as well, especially if you have 4 free transfers and if you will avoid a hit. I like this move as well. So Bournemouth, they have some tough games coming up. Liverpool, good fixture in game week 19 against Leeds at home. So I like all of those moves. I wouldn't necessarily have both Dorgu and Heaven in my team, so I would definitely go one of the Man United defenders together with Michael Keane. Worth going Timber to Gabriel. So this seems like a really popular transfer. We know at this point that Gabriel, he is going up in price. Timber, he will drop in price tonight. So I think you're not alone in considering this transfer. I know a couple of other FPL managers in the chat, they have talked about this move. So I'm starting to be a bit worried about Timber's game time. He was not pictured in the last Arsenal training session. So if you think that Gabriel will start, then Timber to Gabriel is a solid move. The thing is that if Gabriel is benched in game week 19, he will definitely start in game week 20, or most probably start in game week 20. It's a free transfer. Yeah, I think Timber to Gabriel. If you think Gabriel will start, I'd say just go for it. With Gabriel, it's like you know what you're buying, right? You can pick up defensive contributions, attacking returns, clean sheets. It's still one of the defenders with the most points so far this season, even though he's been out for several game weeks. My thinking is that I only have Timber because Gabriel wasn't available anyway. Yeah, probably. I think I did Gabriel to Timber back when Gabriel picked up the injury. I actually brought Gabriel in the game week before he got injured, so a bit frustrating. So for me, it was a straight swap to Timber, I think. Or did I have Timber before? I actually think I had Timber before going for Gabriel. So it saves my transfer down the line. Yeah, I think it totally makes sense for you if you think Gabriel will start and you're definitely sure you will get him at some point, and why not just do it this game week. Radu Gavriluta, he is thinking about this as well. Timber to Gabriel for a -4. Even if he plays 20, he has goal threat, I think. -4, I would try to avoid it, but I know I can see from your comments in the chat you really want to do this move, Radu, so I'd say you will probably regret it if Timber misses out, so I'd say just go for it. As pointed out by the research as well, will probably save your transfer down the line, right? Thank you, you are right. Only one manu asset in defense for this game week. Subscribed. Thanks. Thanks a lot for subscribing. This month, December, has been a really good month for this channel when it comes to subscribers. So thanks to all new subscribers. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this stream a like as well. Tom Linford, opinions on Mark Guiu to Calvert-Lewin for a -4, playing bench boost. Yeah, my follow-up question would be, okay, who would you put on the bench to start Calvert-Lewin? But seeing that you play the bench boost, I'd say go for it. Not the best fixture, of course, for Leeds playing against Liverpool, but it's not the worst fixture either. So yeah, go for it. I wouldn't take more minus points to utilize the bench boost. I think -4 is maximum. So I've seen FPL managers take -12s to set up a really good bench boost, but usually a bench boost, it can sometimes be a bit overrated, and getting 12 to 15 points on the bench boost is usually counted as a success. So taking more than a -4, then it's often hard to get a green arrow on the bench boost. Tom Linford, okay, thank you. FPL Lisa, are you monetized? No, this channel is not yet monetized. I need muted again, sorry about that. FPL Lisa, are this channel monetized? It's getting closer. So to be monetized on YouTube, you need to have 4,000 watch time hours in 1 year. So it's actually kind of hard getting 4,000 hours. I have like 3,700, something like that. So it's not that far away. So I have actually searched for membership. So at 3,000 watch hours, it's possible to open up for membership. So anytime soon, there will actually be an option to become a member of the channel. How long it will take? It's kind of weird because it says this usually takes 2 to 5 days, but it can take up to 2 to 3 weeks as well. So not really sure when this option will be available, but It's still possible to subscribe to the channel, of course, if you're interested. So Timbers and Richards to Gabriel and Hall for a -4. I think this will set your team up really good. So even if it's a -4, Radu, I think you should just pull the trigger. Lewis Hall, he looked so good against Man United. Could have had a goal as well in that game. Oh, Lightning. Tavernier has been such a bad transfer. 3 points across 2 games versus Burnley and Brentford. So he had a really good game. Was it in game week 16? It was a really popular transfer. I wasn't really that convinced by Tavernier myself, but it's like this could have gone either way, right? I think at that point, Tavernier, he was a solid point, so he had the stats to back him up. He's on some set pieces for Bournemouth, and they had really good fixtures, so probably a bit unlucky. I think I will captain Ekitike again over Holland. What do you think? I say it's probably a good game week to go against Erling Haaland once again. Of course, the fixture is not the worst for Man City, but Erling Haaland, he hasn't looked that fresh recently, so I think if you have other strong options like Ekitike at home against Leeds or Cunha at home against Wolves, I'd say it definitely is worth a punt. Dalot or Hall? I really like Hall. Next question is also about Hall or Thiav. I think Hall is probably the better option. The thing is that Newcastle, they have some injuries in defense as well, so I think that Hall probably is close to nailed on at the moment. Thiav, he looked really good, but last couple of game weeks hasn't been that impressive. So I think I would say Lewis Hall to both of those questions. Arteta has a track record of keeping players who are doubts out of the main training session. Has done it multiple times. There's a good likelihood he will play. Villa game is important. Hope you're right. Hope you're right. I don't necessarily see this as a really good fixture for Arsenal, but if Timber starts, he can, of course, get attacking returns. He's still one of the defenders with the best expected goal involvement, so I really hope that Timber will start at home against Aston Villa. So on my bench, I have Van de Ven, but he will play against Igor Thiago, so I'm not really that keen on playing Van de Ven. Vandenberg, he is a doubt. Don't really see Brentford keeping a clean sheet against Spurs. I might actually swap Van de Ven and Vandenberg. But then again, Van de Ven looked really good in game week 18, so I might probably just keep it as it is. Dorgu or Hall? For long term, definitely Lewis Hall. On a free hit, probably Dorgu. Tom Linford, is that just open play threat, or I guess you're talking about the expected goal involvement for defenders, right? I think when you look at the expected goal involvement on the FPL page, I think this is both set pieces and open play together, and you can get this with and without penalties or non-penalty expected goal involvement, but this doesn't really have anything to say for the players that's not taking penalties. But Yeah, it's both open play and set pieces in one stat. I mean, Holland was not good against Sunderland first game, and Ekitike made 2 goals against Leeds, now playing at home, Holland away. Good arguments. I think that if you believe Ekitike will have a good game week, it definitely makes sense to give him the captain's armband. The only, of course, downside of going against Erling Haaland is the fact that he will have really high effective ownership. So if he scores a brace, your rank might take a hit. But on the other hand, if Ekitike outscores Haaland, this will be great for your rank. So as mentioned, I think both Ekitike and Cunha probably are good captain options for game week 19. So the stream is coming to an end. I will have another stream tomorrow as well. I'm not sure if I will be able to set up a deadline stream that's on the actual deadline. I will probably have to go a bit earlier, so like maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock tomorrow. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. I wish I could tell you at what time it will be at the moment, but actually I'm a bit unsure on when I will find the time to do it tomorrow. So there will be a deadline stream tomorrow, but it might be a bit earlier than the usual deadline stream. Do you think Gordon will start? I hope Gordon will start. I was a bit surprised seeing that he played 90 minutes in game week 18 against Man United, to be honest. So hopefully he will get 70 minutes and then being subbed off. I can actually potentially see Anthony Gordon starting on the bench and playing the last 30 minutes as well, but I'm really hoping that he starts and plays 70 instead of playing the last 30. But at this point, I think it's mostly just guesswork, to be honest, but I think it's 60-40 that he starts. At least I really hope so as an Anthony Gordon owner. Dorgu, he actually won the poll this evening. Lewis Hall started really good. He had like above 50%, but in the end, Lewis Hall, he got 35%, Dorgu 39%, and Michael Keane 22%. My transfer this evening, I sold Rodon to bring in, I totally forgot his name. I sold Joe Rodon, the lead centre back, to bring in Dorgu. He's on 4 yellow cards, so he might actually miss game week 20 if he picks up a yellow card in game week 19, but I only really need him this game week and I can have him on the bench for game week 20. Do you have the time to look at my game week team? We can end the stream by having a look at your team poll. Have you posted on X, or if not, I can potentially take a look at your team through the FPL page, but then I would need your FPL ID. So let's see. It's not this, right? Because... And we had MK in the chat earlier, so... I will send it now, yeah. Nice. So in the meantime, I saw a new team as well from... Nice. This is FPL Lucas' team. Let's have a quick look at that one as well. In goal, Raya, Keane, Van Dijk, Calafiori, Semenyo, Tavernier, Phil Foden, Saka, and Cunha, Erling Haaland, Ekitike, and on the bench, an injured Rodon and Anderson against Crystal Palace. So Calafiori, he might miss out, but seeing that you have Anderson and no Crystal Palace attackers, that's probably fine. I would start preparing to offload my Bournemouth midfielders, to be honest. Tough fixtures coming up. What will happen with Semenyo? Last I read from Iraola was that he will probably stay at least until the summer, but who knows? Tavernier, he was a good punt back in game week 16, but I don't really expect him to be a good asset going forward. So probably something to consider, but it kind of depends on how many free transfers you have. Maybe Dalot, Dorgu for yellow cards. I think Dalot definitely is the better long-term option. So with this team, it's an option to do something like Calafiori to, let's say, Dalot, and you will have some available funds to upgrade Tavernier. Maybe Wirtz, Tavernier to Wirtz, if you have some available funds. So let's see. I need to refresh this again, and hopefully I will be able to find your team. So in goal, Verbruggen on the bench, Dubravka. Totally makes sense to start Verbruggen, even though you have Jared Bowen. So if you started Dubravka, you would have Dubravka against Anthony Gordon either way. So yeah, Verbruggen. I agree. Saliba, Van Dijk, O'Reilly in defense. Harry Wilson, Phil Foden, Wirtz, Anthony Gordon, Ekitike, Erling Haaland, and Jared. I really like this team. I wish I had Ekitike myself. Jared Bowen was actually my planned transfer in this game week. Gordon, Wirtz, Phil Foden. On the bench, Lewis, Miley, Richardson, Alderete. So hopefully you will not need your bench, but I think the starting 11 at least is definitely strong enough just to save your transfer ahead of game week 19. So did you say how many free transfers you have at this point? Probably you did, but let me know in the chat. Time to think about Unirtieta. Is it time to think about Gabriel? At least he has been discussed heavily on this stream. So I think a really popular transfer ahead of game week 19 will be to sell Timber and to bring in Gabriel. Some rumors about Timber not participating in the last Arsenal training session, but we also have comments in the chat about this being classic Arteta resting some of the players in the last session ahead of a game. And this is a really important game for Arsenal. At least I really hope that Timber will play. If you don't think he will play, and if you think that Gabriel will start, it probably makes sense to just do the transfer this game week. We have talked about it as mentioned in the chat. And if Gabriel is benched and only play 20-30 minutes in game week 19, I think it definitely will start in game week 20. I made Bruno to Gordon, so 0 free transfers. Miley over Wilson, do you really think so? No, I don't think I said start Lewis Miley ahead of Harry Wilson. If I said, I'm terribly sorry, because I think you have this team spot on, to be honest. And I just said that the bench is a bit weak with an injured Richards and Alderete playing against Man City. Lewis Miley is probably a decent bench cover, but I would definitely start Harry Wilson. Especially seeing that you don't have any Crystal Palace defenders in your starting 11, definitely makes sense to start Harry Wilson. So especially with 0 free transfers, I think this team is good to go for game week 19. So as mentioned, I will have another deadline stream tomorrow, so if you're interested, join that one as well. Please consider giving this stream a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So I usually have those Q&As and FPL discussion the night before every deadline. I try to find the time for deadline streams as well, but sometimes it's a bit hard, but I'll do my best. I post weekly team selection videos and tips for free hits and wildcards and stuff like that as well during the week. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to the channel. Thanks all for joining in. As mentioned, join in tomorrow. If you don't find the time tomorrow, best of luck for game week 19.